What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be giving you my Week 10 NFL reaction. Now, it's been a while since we've done one of these, but I've been focused on giving you guys some other content. You know, when it comes to this channel, I give you guys like 5 other subjects, so it's kind of difficult. But anyway, we're going to find a way to make this video entertaining as usual. So there's a quick announcement. Post in the comments your NFL hot takes. For a video Thursday, I will be reading some NFL hot takes in a video. So if you could just do me a favor, post your hot takes so I can read them this Thursday, or hopefully put them in a video in the foreseeable future. Anyway, disclaimer as usual, if you disagree with anything I say, please let me know down in the comments what you agree, what you disagree with, what you change. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video and let's react to the NFL Week 10. Right, and so we are going to start with another banger between the Bengals and the Ravens. Golly, the Ravens win it 35-34. Anyway, let's check out the box score. Let's start with the Bengals. Joe Burrow had an excellent day. 34 for 56, 60% throwing, 428 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Like that, 116 QBR. Chase Brown had an okay game on the ground. 13 for 42 and a score. But the real calling card has to go to Ja'Marr Chase. 11 receptions for 264 yards. 3 touchdowns, and if I'm reading this correctly, he did put up 63 or above 60 fantasy points. Like, what? Defense didn't really do anything. Couldn't sack Lamar. Couldn't intercept him. Couldn't do anything. As for Lamar, he also had a very productive day. 75%, 290 for 4 touchdowns, no picks. Derrick Henry was a little bit limited, but still had a touchdown. Receiving was led by Tylan Wallace. 3 receptions for 115 yards and a touchdown. I was surprised he did stay in bounds. Mark Andrews had a pretty good day, too. Even Nelson Aguilar had a touchdown. Golly, I forgot he still played football. Weren't able to sack Joe Burrow. Justin Madubuike had 3 sacks on the day. So, yeah. I don't know what to say if I'm a Bengals fan. I mean, you're losing these games, but they're like very close. That just proves that like you're not able to beat these higher up teams. So, do my eyes deceive me? Like, am I physically going crazy? Like, the Panthers won another football game. Daniel Jones is literally awful. He's everything I said he was in the offseason. 22 for 37. 2 picks, no touchdowns. He had a rushing touchdown, I'll give him that. Tyrone Tracy lit it up on the ground. Malik Nabers had -2 rushing yards. Malik Nabers is also very limited. Their whole receiving core was just limited in general. Defense was able to sack Bryce Young only once, surprisingly. Wasn't able to pick him off. And now bring me to the Panthers for, like, also, do my eyes deceive me? Like, Bryce Young did not throw an interception, and he was actually accurate with the football. Didn't have too many yards, but he also had 30 yards on the ground. I just cannot believe what I'm seeing. Chuba Hubbard really had a great day. Golly. And defense, yeah, you guys were able to sack him a couple times. Josie Jewell and Xavier Woods had the picks. Sean Robinson and DJ Woonham had the sacks. Overall, I mean, I'd say Bryce Young is really starting to recover. Like, all he really needed was just a couple games on the bench to like regroup himself. Honestly, I really think he should have gotten the Drake May treatment. Like, they don't start him right away. And look how Drake May's doing. Like, he just beat one of the best defenses in the league this year. So, like, yeah, Bryce Young, like, I don't think he should have been thrown in, especially with the team that he had. So, overall, just Bryce Young, if you keep playing like this, you're going to have a bright future. And now we have the Falcons beating the New Orleans... no, losing to the New Orleans Saints. Excuse me. Just wow, I'm legitimately shocked. Kirk Cousins didn't throw any touchdowns. He threw a pick. It was an ugly one too. 306 passing yards though. That's at least good. Bijan Robinson accidentally lit it up. Absolutely lit it up on the ground. 20 for 116. Nobody had any receiving touchdowns. Barely anyone had any yards except for Darnell Mooney and Drake London. Matt Judon, nobody could really get to the quarterback. Nobody could intercept the quarterback. That'll bring me to Derek Carr, where he had a actually really decent day. 269, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Alvin Kamara was kind of limited, only 17 for 55. Takes me to the receiving. Marquez Valdes-Scantling was surprisingly your lead receiver, having 3 receptions for 109 yards and 2 touchdowns. And as for the defense, Tyrann Mathieu had the interception. And you guys were able to get to Kirk a couple times. Peyton Turner and Chase Young had the 2 sacks. And Cameron Jordan had 1 too. And, yeah, just 3 sacks on the day. Falcons, I mean, I feel like that the Falcons are really the most like up and down team. One day they could actually light it up, and then another day they can lose to teams like the Saints. And if they want to win the Super Bowl, they got to change that identity. Saints, overall, I mean, they have nothing to play for. So this win was like not a must, but it was just like a good gesture. Okay, and please comment down below if I'm seeing this right. But the Patriots destroyed the Bears. What are we doing here? Like, Drake May, I mean, he wasn't too good. 184 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. I mean, and he also had 24 yards on the ground. Ramondre Stevenson, like, their offense was not very good. It really came down to their kicking. Like, jeez Louise, man. Like, their kicking was absolutely insane. Defense was absolutely good. It was absolutely fantastic. Getting to Caleb 9 times, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it was 9. As for Caleb, I mean, golly, 16 for 30, 120, no touchdowns, no picks, having only 15 yards rushing. It's just, I don't know what in the world is going on with the Bears, but I would fire Matt Eberflus immediately. TJ Edwards had an interception. Jacob Martin had a sack. It's just, I don't know what's going on with the Bears. I really do not. And you lose 19-3 to the Patriots. 19-3. I don't get it. I mean, Caleb, well, like I said about the Falcons, Caleb's the most up and down quarterback. Like, he's the most inconsistent quarterback. One day, he could throw for 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, like he did with the Jaguars. And then a couple weeks later, he could have games like this. I mean, I just don't like that in a quarterback. Next up, we have the Steelers beating the Commanders by only 1 point. This week just keeps getting better and better. Looking at the Commanders, Jaden Daniels was not accurate. He didn't throw for many yards, didn't throw any touchdowns, only had 5 yards on the ground. Jaden Daniels was not really good at all. Jeremy McNichols had a rushing touchdown. Austin Eckler had 2 rushing touchdowns along with 44 yards. Terry McLaurin absolutely lit it up on the ground. Their defense was not really able to do much. Jeremy Chin had the interception. And as for the Steelers, Russell Wilson, 14 for 28, also had a 50 completion percentage. 195, 3 touchdowns, at 100 QBR. And as for rushing, Najee Harris, 21 for 53, a touchdown. He had an okay game. George Pickens was their lead receiver. He absolutely had a day. And as for defense, Preston Smith and Cameron Hayward were able to get the sacks. But just overall, I mean, I wouldn't sound the alarm if I were the Commanders. This is our first loss in since, I don't know, week 5 when they faced the Ravens. Steelers, however, they're legitimate Super Bowl contenders. I'm genuinely shocked at how well they're doing right now. Now we have the Vikings beating the Jaguars in very ugly fashion. This game literally made me want to vomit. It made me want to throw up. Legitimately. Sam Darnold was absolutely terrible. 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 Very little on the ground, very little passing. It was just awful. Aaron Jones got hurt. I mean, I'll give him that. Justin Jefferson was limited. Well, I can't blame Justin Jefferson, especially since his quarterback played like Mac Jones. And the defense was very, very good. Cameron Bingham, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name, and Byron Murphy, they both had the INTs. Ivan Pace Jr., Andrew Van Ginkel. Andrew Van Ginkel's been absolutely phenomenal this year. And looking at the Jaguars, Mac Jones was absolutely horrible, as expected. Travis Etienne was limited. Tank Bigsby was limited. Mac Jones did have a rushing touchdown, though. Receiving was limited. And, however, the interception, Darnell Savage, Monteric Brown, and Foyesade Oluokun, they all had the INTs. Trayvon Walker had a sack. Just overall, the Vikings have not played as good as they did at the start of the season. Jaguars, I mean, what else did we expect? I mean, they're the Jaguars. Here you go. It's the same story as last week. The Chiefs win. They beat the Broncos. Bo Nix, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 215. It was very accurate. Javonte Williams didn't do anything. Julian McLaughlin, they didn't do anything rushing. They didn't do anything passing. Very little yards, except for, Courtland Sutton. He had a good day. Defense, they did okay. They had a couple sacks. And as for the Chiefs, it's just that, Patrick Mahomes was not really that good. He only threw 1 touchdown pass. Kareem Hunt was limited. Travis Kelce has been started to get a lot more consistent. I will say this to you. And their defense besides the block kicked, didn't do very much. The Chiefs are just finding every possible way to win, and it's so frustrating. I know I'm sounding like a hypocrite. I know I'm sounding like a jealous football fan, but, it's the truth. Someone's got to eventually beat these guys. We have the 49ers beating the Buccaneers. From what I've heard, Jake Moody was absolutely horrible this game. Looking at the box score, Brock Purdy, he wasn't perfect. 353 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. However, the completion percentage was also really good. Brock Purdy overall had a good day. Christian McCaffrey was back for this game. You love to see it. It wasn't very good. He just came back from an injury. I'll give him some time. How did he have more receiving yards than rushing touchdowns, though? That's a mystery to me. Ricky Pearsall, George Kittle both had the touchdowns. George Kittle might be the best tight end in the entire NFL. Jawan Jennings also had a good day. Defense was a little bit limited. Fred Warner didn't really do much. He was only limited to 6 tackles. Now looking at the Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield was just horrible. Awful. Bucky Irving was really the only thing keeping this offense going. It makes sense. Tampa Bay, how does it feel to have your 2 best wide receivers be out? Yeah, it doesn't really feel that good, doesn't it? And sacks, only a couple, and no interceptions. Buccaneers, I would sound the alarm. You guys have played absolutely horrible these past 5 weeks. As for the 49ers, they're starting to pick it up. Getting Christian McCaffrey back was definitely a step in the right direction. Okay, I know the score doesn't say it, but we have the Bills obliterating the Colts. Josh Allen, 22 for 37. Wasn't the most accurate, but 280, no touchdowns, 2 picks. I think this was the first, actually bad game that he's had. And even then, he still had 50 yards on the ground and a rushing touchdown. James Cook had a great day on the ground. Dawson Knox was a little bit limited to only 2 receptions. Mac Hollins, surprisingly, was their lead receiver. As for the defense, you guys were able to pick off Joe Flacco 5 times. Taylor Rapp, Austin Johnson, and Taron Johnson all had the interceptions. Now looking at the Colts, Joe Flacco just continues to be not that good. 272 yards. No, he had 2 touchdowns, but 3 interceptions. He reminds me a lot of Brett Favre. He has games where he throws so many touchdowns, and in the same time, those games, he throws for so many interceptions. Jonathan Taylor was absolutely amazing. Lead receiver was Alec Pierce once again, 4 for 81 and a score, and the defense was just very limited. However, EJ Speed and Kenny Moore both had the interceptions. Buffalo, you guys are riding high. Colts, I would be just. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this year. Like, I don't know if we consider you guys good, or I don't know if we consider you guys bad. You guys are just flip back and forth every single week, and it's confusing. Okay, now we have the Chargers beating the Titans 27-17. The Chargers are actually legit contenders, even though Will Levis did have a very good game, 18 for 23. He was very accurate, 175 yards, 2 touchdowns. Surprisingly, didn't throw an interception. Also had 41 yards on the ground. Overall, the rushing wasn't really much to speak about. And as for receiving, Calvin Ridley absolutely had a monster day. And defense just was not able to do anything. No sacks, no picks. Looking at Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert was just absolutely phenomenal. In fact, some of the throws that he made me want to physically shed a tear because of what a good passing game he had. 14 for 18, almost was perfect. 164 yards, a touchdown. Also had a rushing touchdown. Correct me if I'm wrong. He had a rushing touchdown. Overall, but besides that, rushing wasn't really much to speak about. And as for receiving, Lad McConkey led the day. Quentin Johnson had the touchdown, though. And defense wasn't really able to do much. They had an okay game. They had a lot of sacks, but just wasn't really able to stop Will Levis that well. Chargers, you guys look really good. I mean, I would consider you guys maybe playoff contenders. I don't think you guys will go to the Super Bowl, but I mean, I think you guys, for a team that just got rid of their 2 top receivers, I mean, I would consider you guys like playoff contenders. Like, you guys are heading in the right direction. Titans, I mean, better luck next year. I have no idea what's going on with the Jets, but they just continue to look absolutely horrible. It's unbelievable. Kyler Murray just shredded you guys the entire game. He had a 91 completion percentage, 266, a touchdown, and 2 rushing TDs. Like, Kyler Murray just gave the Jets defense a wedgie. James Conner even had a touchdown. Receiving was led by James Conner. Just overall, just what a day receiving. It was very spread out. Marvin Harrison had a touchdown. Defense was even though they didn't have a lot of interceptions or sacks, they were just able to be so disruptive. And as for the Jets, 22-35 here, what else can I say? 151 yards, no touchdowns. Breece Hall had an okay game, averaged 5.2 yards on the game, but they only gave him 10 attempts. Braylon Allen was not that good at all. Receiving was not that good, even though Garrett Wilson still had 5 receptions. Can't believe how bad Davante Adams has been. And as for defense, wasn't able to do anything. Quincy Williams had the sack. He was their only spark. I mean, the Jets, I don't know what the problem is, but you guys got to figure something out fast. Otherwise, your season's over. It may already be over right now, if I'm being honest. Now we have my Eagles absolutely obliterating the Cowboys defense, offense, or just my Eagles absolutely obliterating the Cowboys offense and defense. Our offense got off to a little bit of a shaky start, but overall cleaned it up and absolutely dominated the Cowboys at the end. Cooper Rush, horrible. Trey Lance. Also, you would think that Dak Prescott leaving would mean that we wouldn't have to deal with the "yeah, here we go" chant anymore, but apparently we do. And Trey Lance does a deeper version of it, and Cooper Rush does like a chipmunk version of it. As for rushing, you guys were horrible. Ezekiel Elliott fumbled. Our defense was just so disruptive. Quinyon Mitchell gave CeeDee Lamb a wedgie the entire game. Just took a belt and just bam, bam, bam to CeeDee Lamb. Defense was not able to do a single thing. Trayvon Diggs had the pick, but no tackles at all. And as for sacks, I mean, our offensive line overall was just horrible. They didn't give Hurts any time to throw. They didn't give Barkley any holes. We need Jordan Mailata. Our offensive line was not good at all. And as for the Eagles, Jalen Hurts had a very productive day. Only had a 70%, 14 for 20, 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Had 4 total touchdowns, 56 on the ground, too. Barkley, even on a down day, Barkley still averages 4 yards a carry, or 5 if you want to round up, and 66 yards. As for receiving, Johnny Wilson, do my eyes deceive me? Johnny Wilson caught a pass. He didn't drop something for once. And anyway, moving on, A.J. Brown was absolutely phenomenal. Once again, what Quinyon Mitchell did to CD, this is what A.J. did to the Dallas corner, or whoever it is. And as for defense, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson continues to look amazing. Reed Blankenship and Milton Williams and Zach Bond and Cooper DeJean all had forced fumbles. Bryce Huff, Milton Williams. Milton Williams was overall our defensive player of the game, if you want to believe it or not. Eagles, we're flying high. We are flying high. And after how the Lions did, Eagles may be the best team in the NFC. Now we have the Lions barely beating the Texans, and Jared Goff, if you're watching this video, what in the world is this? 2 touchdowns, 5 interceptions? David Montgomery, 12 attempts for 32? A touchdown? What's going on? What? What in the world is going on? What was that game? I couldn't watch it. It was so confusing. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he had a great game. Sam Laporta also had a great game. Sam Laporta, I hope he's okay. He's apparently injured. Carlton Davis had 2 interceptions too. But just 5 interceptions? What? C.J. Stroud just continues to look absolutely horrible. 232, a touchdown, 2 picks. Had 46 yards. He even had a rushing touchdown. That was Joe Mixon. C.J. Stroud only had 5 yards. Joe Mixon, 25 for 46, again, a touchdown. And even 44 yards receiving. Overall receiving was led by John Mechie III with a touchdown, 74 receiving yards. Alright, I want to see who got these picks. Henry, whatever his last name is, Toa. Henry Toa. Kamari Lessiter had 2. Kellen Bullock. Jimmy Ward. Those are the guys that had the interceptions. Out of all people, you got picked off by those 4 jabronis. They're winning. I can respect that. But golly, man. 5 interceptions. That's got to be the wildest thing I've ever seen. Finally, we have the Dolphins actually winning a football game for once against the Rams. And for my surprise, Tua Tagovailoa actually banged his head. He got kneed in the head again after he threw that interception. I don't understand Tua. I don't understand him. Why in the world would you do that? Have you not learned your lesson the past 3 times? What are we doing? 20 for 28. He had a good game. 207, a touchdown, and a pick. Had a 96 rating. Receiving, Tyreek Hill had the score. It was overall led by Jalen Waddle, who had 3 for 57. Defense was sacked Matthew Stafford 4 times. Anthony Walker Jr. had the interception. Kendall Fuller had the forced fumble. And as for the Rams, Matthew Stafford looked absolutely terrible. Actually, he wasn't that bad. It's just he had an unfortunate interception. Kyren Williams didn't really do that much. As for receiving, it was led by Puka Nacua, 9 for 98. Puka Nacua continues to look amazing since he's come back, besides that one game that he had. And as for interceptions, Christian Roseboom did have the interception, who also kneed Tua right in the face, I think. And Tua I'm not going to say this again. Protect your head. That's all I want you to do. Protect your head. Please, please, for the love of God. All right, and now we can get to our NFL Week 10 performance of the week. No doubt in my mind, it's going to Ja'Marr Chase. 11 receptions for 264 yards and 3 touchdowns. Ja'Marr Chase might be, honestly, if the season ended today, based on the statistics, Ja'Marr Chase would have the triple crown right now. He has been that good this year, and it really sucks that they're losing. But if they had a decent coach or a decent defense, then the Bengals would be number 1 in their division, no doubt about it. It was tough to decide between Joe Burrow or Ja'Marr Chase. Guys, that is going to do it for this video. I hope you had fun with this, and don't forget to leave your hot takes in the comments down below so I can hopefully do a video on them, reviewing them. So, without further ado, I'll see y'all guys the next time I upload. Peace, and don't forget to subscribe, by the way.